Bonjour tout le monde. Good morning, everyone. My name is Antoine Valjean, and I'm the program coordinator here at the Ottawa branch of the National Association of Federal Retirees. So I'd like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which the branch office is located is traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. So on behalf of the Ottawa branch, I'm pleased to welcome you to today's webinar with Meg Stickl-Kroeker, owner of local business AIM Fitness. In today's session, Meg will share some helpful information as well as some tips and tricks about helping you build healthy habits that last. After that, Meg will lead us through a nice full body workout to help us put those habits into practice. Veuillez noter que le webinaire sera présenté en anglais, mais la participation bilingue est toujours encouragée. I also want to give a special welcome here to anyone who is not yet a member of the association. We hope that these webinars inspire you to join us. Finally, Meg will be answering any questions you might have at the end of the webinar. So if you have any questions for Meg, please type them in the Q&A box or the Zoom chat box, and then she'll be able to answer those questions at the end of today's session. That's it for me in my intro, so I'll turn it over to Meg. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, Antoine, and welcome, everyone. Welcome, thanks for being here today. So as Antoine said, I'm going to be talking about how to build healthy habits that last. So if you do have a pen and paper handy, I do suggest you take some notes because I'm going to be sharing lots of really helpful hands-on information that you can use for both your fitness routines that you want to start and also nutrition. All right, so a little bit about myself as we get started. So as Antoine mentioned, I owned the company AIM Fitness, and I founded it back in 2013. So this past year, I celebrated 10 years of being in business. And I started my fitness career teaching fitness part-time. I used to teach aquafit and chair exercise classes in the mornings, in the evenings, and that was my fun job. And then as I was working full-time at a retirement residence, I realized that there's really a huge need for people to improve their independence, improve their strength, and to stay active. So I started my business with the need and the desire to help more people who are wanting to really exercise safely, and people who found that the exercises and the classes they went to in their 20s and 30s just weren't doing it for them as they got older. So that's what led me to start my business. And over the years, we've expanded quite a bit. I now have 4 other personal trainers that work with me. And the first offering that I started 10 years ago, and we still do, is in-home personal training. And then over the years, I've connected with Rogers TV, and I offer a free TV show called Fit Over 50 with Meg. And just last week, I filmed season 3. So if you've been watching and following along, in the fall, there's going to be some new episodes that will be airing. And then I also have a free Facebook group called At Home Fitness for adults 50+. Please join, you'll love the community. And then lots of free videos also on my YouTube channel. And I'll talk a little bit later about a special discount just for NAFR members if you want a full program that you can do at home. But these are some of the pictures of what I do. I do lots of presentations out in the community. I have a lot of opportunities, lots of chances to speak and help people in Ottawa and beyond. So I want to start us off today by asking you the question, what motivates you? What motivates you? So I am going to ask a few different questions during our session today. So if you want to answer, there is a chat box that you can type in your answers. And especially, I want to go a little deeper into what motivates you. What motivates you to be here today? So why are you wanting to learn about healthy habits? So why are you wanting to focus on your health, focus on your fitness? And I love this picture because sometimes this is what motivates us, isn't it? All right, so maybe you relate to some of these pictures. So I'm going to go over them and then let us know by sharing the number, what is motivating you to focus on your health now? So I work with lots of people who, like number one, want the social. They want the social aspect of a class. Maybe they have a spouse or a friend. Oh, I'm losing my, oh, here we go. Hold on, sorry. So maybe they have a friend, maybe they have a spouse that they want to stay active with. So getting out, doing activities together is really what motivates them. Now, number two shows a house. Maybe you're someone who wants to stay in your own home as long as possible. You want to be able to garden, you want to be able to do home maintenance and have the strength and the independence to do that. Number three, picture of someone on a bike, a couple on the bike. So maybe you have plans to travel. Maybe you love to travel. Maybe you want to stay physically active. You want to do those activities like biking, pickleball, golfing that you really enjoy doing. And then number four, we've got a picture of a family and grandchildren. So maybe that's your motivation to focus on your health. You have kids, you've got grandkids, you've got people who rely on you, who need you to be in your best shape and who need you to be there for them. And that's what really motivates you to focus on your health. So take a moment, think about which reason that I've shared here really resonates with you. And then let us know. You can put the number in the chat box, or there's also the Q&A as well. All right, so a few twos, people wanting to stay in their own homes. Yeah, and family, someone else. All right, a few people have multiple numbers. You can definitely do that. It's nice to know that how you're motivated. Yeah, lots for the family, lots for your own home. Yeah, social. That's good. Yeah, staying active, all of the reasons. Awesome. Yeah, so continue to share with us. It's nice to know what people have. All right, want to avoid health complications and lose weight. Yeah, that's a really good reason too. Travel. Yeah. So I really recommend you thinking about this and don't just dismiss this as, oh, this is interesting, but this is so important for you to know how you're motivated. And the reason for this is that often outside motivation comes and goes. And I'm sure you know what I mean. If you've ever signed up for a gym membership in your life, you'll know the first week you're really excited. You go to the gym every day. And then as the months progress, you don't go quite as often. And maybe now you avoid it. So having a deeper reason, and that's what these are really deep personal reasons why you want to focus on your health. And these are so, so important. So something I would recommend is if you have a big goal, so maybe it is improving your health, maybe it is improving your balance, have a picture of one of these things that reminds you of your why, that reminds you of this reason. So maybe it's a picture of your family that you put on your mirror. Maybe it's a picture of an airplane if you have a trip coming up. So really think about how you can use these things as motivators. And I love this quote, motivation gets you started, discipline keeps you going. Motivation gets you started, discipline keeps you going. And this is all too true. I've seen this for many, many years. People, like I mentioned, people get excited. Oh, I'm going to sign up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But it's those who say, all right, I'm going to do my exercises even when I don't feel like it. And I'm going to do it anyways. It's that discipline that will help you see the results that you want. So let's dive into what a habit is, because that's what we're talking about, how to develop healthy habits. So a habit is a usual way of behaving, something that a person does often in a regular and repeated way. So a habit is something we don't always think about. It happens automatically. And that's what we want to make these things. We want to make sure that they become part of a regular and repeated action. All right, so again, you can share with us in the chat, what are some good and bad habits that you have? Now, if you don't want to talk about yourself, you can share other people's bad habits. Often it's easier to think of that. But here I've included two pictures. One picture is this couple who's running, they're out in nature, looks like they're having a great time, they're smiling, they're laughing, they're putting their health first. So that's a really good habit. Getting out for a walk, getting out for a run, connecting with people. Now, this other habit could be good and it also could be bad. So what I see here is a woman who is reading a book. So that's really a very good habit, but it's 3 in the morning and she's still reading. So if you're wanting to improve your sleep, reading at 3 in the morning is probably not the best habit to continue with. So you can let me know what you think about that. Now, if you're retired, maybe you think, oh, you know what, I can read at any time of day. But really, the best thing is to get into a really good sleep routine. All right, so what are some habits? Good habits, bad habits. All right, Bonnie shares not going for walks enough. Okay, so maybe putting it off, spending more time sitting instead of actually going for walks. Too much screen time. That's a good one too, isn't it? That can be easy to do because we've got screens everywhere. Our cell phones, we've got computers, TV. It's easy just to sit and watch. All right. Good. So let us know if there's any other habits that you can think of. Of course, we have habits like smoking, maybe drinking too much, maybe negative thinking. We don't always think of that as a habit, but it is. If we dwell on the negative, if we're always thinking, oh, I could never improve my health, oh, I'm never going to get better, that is a habit. That's a way of thinking and something that we can change. All right, not getting up in the morning. Sure. Yeah, too much sitting. Absolutely. Yeah, so some good habits. Yeah, so doing Tai Chi, that's great. Doing some yoga. Yeah, I love this. Age is just a number. Yeah, absolutely. I could talk a lot about that. I work with a lot of people in their 80s and 90s who are thriving. They're doing so well, and it's been so inspiring. Another bad habit is procrastination. Allowing my lack of discipline to be someone else's fault. Procrastinating. Yeah, regular bedtime is a good habit. Awesome. Yeah, so keep those rolling in. It's great to see all of your ideas here for good and bad habits. All right, so a book that I really recommend you read is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I read this book last year and absolutely loved it. And there's a huge portion that is dedicated to health and fitness. And in the book, James Clear talks about the habit loop. So as I go through this, you can see how this shows up in your life. So the first step here is this gentleman is going for a walk and he walks past a donut shop. The cue is that he smells the donuts. So that is the cue. Number 2, craving. All of a sudden, all he can think about is having a donut. He wants it. He has that craving. The next step is the response. So because of that craving, he then goes into the store and he orders a donut. Good for him. Just one. Look at him. Now, the next step is the reward. So he's enjoyed his donut, he's eaten it, and now he feels satisfied. He feels really good. So the habit loop, this shows us the progression of how we can create new habits. So I'm going to come back to that in a little bit, but right now we're going to dive into 5 tips to build healthy habits this summer. All right, and if you're taking notes, this is a good place to start. So number 1 is just get started. Now, quite often when I talk to someone, they often will call me and say, okay, Meg, I need some help. I have not been exercising in a while. I now have a bad hip, my shoulder is bothering me, and I need some direction. I want to make sure I'm doing things properly. And it's easy for people at this stage of the game to say, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to wait till my shoulder gets better. I'm going to wait till my hip gets diagnosed. I'm going to hold off. I'm not going to exercise until everything is resolved. And guess what? I'm sure you know this. Sometimes it takes a long time for things to improve. So my tip for you is if you're in that place where you think, oh, should I start? Should I wait? Just get started. just get started. A lot of my clients, including this morning, I teach a Zoom fitness class every Thursday, and I have a few people who attend who have some limitations. And one woman is struggling with her leg right now, and she has to sit at different times during the class, but she still shows up. She does what she can with her upper body. So she's still choosing to get started and to continue. And I do recommend you to commit to exercising daily. Move your body every day. We need it. Our body is meant to be moved. A lot of you shared in the chat, bad habits include sitting, spending time in front of the screen. All of those things are sedentary. We need to move. Now, this doesn't mean lifting crazy weights and doing boot camp classes every day, but it does include like the things we talked about, going for a walk, lifting some light weights, doing some Tai Chi, doing some stretching, going to the pool. But do something every day because your body will just feel so much better. And I like to include this regardless of the weather or your mood. It is easy to have excuses. Excuses come up. I know we've had crazy weather. This summer is a little bit wild. We don't know what to expect. It's either rain or extreme heat, it seems. And it's easy to say, oh, I'm not going to do this today because it's too hot. Oh, it's raining. I'm not going to do that. But those can often be excuses if we say them over and over again. So do notice that. All right, I've got this for you. I'm too tired. It's too cold. It's too hot. It's too late. It's raining. Let's go. Let's go. So if you are wanting to improve your health, if you're wanting to get moving more, how much exercise do we actually need? So for people who are over the age of 60, it's recommended to aim for 150 to 200 minutes of movement every week. And this is not just stretching and low-key movement. This is moderate to vigorous activity. So this is anything that will get your heart rate up. This is where you're working and you feel like, okay, I'm building that strength. I'm pushing myself to do this. So many of you know I have a little dog, Finley, and there's two different types of walks I can take. I can take a walk with Finley where he stops every few feet and he has to sniff something. And it's a slow walk. We're not going too fast. There's no way I'm getting my heart rate up. There's no way that this really counts as a, workout. But then there's another type of walk that I take without my dog. And I can go faster, I can choose to jog, and I know that I'm working. I'm breathing a little heavier. So that's what we want to think about. We want to think about getting that heart rate up. So leave the dogs at home and do your walk on your own or with someone else. So when we break this down, this does seem like a big number, but it ends up being 30 minutes of movement. And you can break that down further to 10 minutes. And that is fine. If 10 minutes is all you can do, maybe you do have some back pain or you have something that's holding you back, or you just find that you really need to build up your endurance, 10 minutes is good. So this includes some morning stretches, lifting light weights using resistance bands to build bone and muscular strength. We want to do that, especially if we're concerned about having a fall, or if you do have low bone mass. So if you have osteoporosis or osteoarthritis, we really want to focus on building strength. And then if you're worried about falling, we need to work on balance, leg strength. We also need to work on core strength. So there's a lot that we can do, and it's important to do what you can, adapt to what you can do. So another way to get creative and to try something new is to use what's in your home. So there's so much that you can do. And quite often I get calls from people who say, okay, I want to work with a trainer, but I don't have a home gym. What do you recommend? What do you think I should buy? So the good news is you can use all of these things that are right here. You don't need to buy an expensive home gym. So there's a lot you can do right in your kitchen, right along the counter. So what you can do for balance is you can step with one foot right in front of the other, or lift one hand, lift one leg, and find your balance and hold it. So much you can do, including push-ups right against the counter. So instead of going on the floor, you can do counter push-ups. You can also do heel raises or leg lifts as you're at the counter. And I want you to start thinking about fitting movement in during the day. So if you are in the kitchen, grabbing something to eat, grabbing a snack, before you have that snack, fit in 10 minutes of movement right there in the kitchen. That's a really good way to sneak it in. And then this is a picture of one of my videos on YouTube, seated flexibility exercises using a tea towel. So I lead everyone through a 10-minute workout using a tea towel, and it includes lots of flexibility work, standing and seated stretches. So you can definitely check that out on my YouTube channel. And then I also have pictures of chairs. We all have chairs, so really there's no excuse, but there's so much we can do just sitting. And then also canned goods. So if you don't have any weights, I've used cans with clients, I've used heavy books, water bottles. There's so much that you can do in order to focus on strength. So believe me, you don't need any fancy equipment, and that's really good for people to hear, I know. So here's a sample of what 150 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity could be. So this could include 10 minutes of vacuuming, 20 minutes of dancing, 60 minutes of gardening. Yeah, the gardeners love to hear this. 60 minutes of walking. So when you break it down, you can see how this is all possible. It's really, really doable. My tip number 2 for you as you're building healthy habits is to do what you can do. So it's not about comparing yourself to what you could do when you were younger, or if you are going to a gym or a class, it's not looking at the person beside you and thinking, I want to beat them. I know we have some competitive people watching today, but it's about doing your best with what you can. It's also about listening to your body. So maybe you do have a heart condition, maybe you have a shoulder that flares up, or you have arthritis in your knees. And maybe there's things that you just can't do as easily, and you need to adapt those things. And that is important. That's why I say it here. Adapt your workouts when needed. Adapt them when needed. This is something I do in my video programs, in my classes. I tell people, option 1 is to do this. So reaching out to the side, if you have a heart condition, if you're marching on the spot, we want to protect that heart, but we want to get it pumping as well. If you don't have a heart condition, then we want to raise those arms over your head. So there's adaptations like that that still can be safe. You'll still be exercising. You're still getting in a good workout, but you're not overdoing it. And I do want to mention this picture was taken at our last in-person workout last month. So these are all NAFR members. We had a wonderful time. We had a hot, hot day, but we met at the Rockcliffe Park right under the pavilion. And these are the mini bands that we were using for a really fun workout. So good news, we are having another in-person workout this fall. So stay tuned because you'll be getting some information about that soon. All right, and then a few other tips for you. Don't compare yourself to what you used to be able to do. And so maybe you do think back to, oh, okay, I was in my 20s, I was in my 30s, and I could do push-ups on the ground. And that's just not happening anymore, not with my shoulder, or not with the level of strength that I have. If it's been a while since you exercised, start slow. We want to prevent injury. If you overdo it, if you try to do what you did many years ago, it can cause injury, which we want to avoid because it takes longer to heal as you get older. Go outside for walks, but if it's too hot, then walk indoors. And I'm sure right around where you live, there's probably a mall that offers mall walking. I know there's all the big malls. There's lots of space. You can go early before the store is even open. And then you've got the air conditioning. You can do your walk inside. And listen to your body, but don't give in to your excuses. So here's the excuses listed again. It's too hot. I don't feel like it. I'm too busy. And I do encourage you to cut out those phrases from your vocabulary. Don't go there. If you do hear yourself say those things, you say, all right, I'm choosing to do it. I'm choosing to focus on my health, even if I don't want to. So empowering to say it like that. So here's some summer activity ideas. So number one is go for a walk outdoors, rain or shine. One of the women I work with, she loves walking and she has really adapted this. So she prepares for the weather. So she knows it may rain. She brings her umbrella, she brings her raincoat, but she loves to be outside. And then I have another client who I work with. I do personal training with her. I saw her this morning and she loves to be outdoors. Even if it's raining, we are under her pavilion behind her apartment. We are exercising outdoors. She brings her bands, we bring the weights, and she's outside. She loves it. And I love it too. So there's something about being outdoors that's just so refreshing. Some other ideas, use walking poles, use a cane or a walker for added support. If you need it, then do it. We want to be safe on our feet. I love doing a walk and talk with a friend. And what that looks like is meeting up with a friend, and instead of meeting for a coffee and just sitting or having a meal, I like to bring my water bottle in the summer and say, all right, let's meet at this park. Recently, I went to Hog's Back and went for a really lovely walk. It was about an hour, but we did half an hour one way and then turned around and came back down the path. And my goodness, the walk went so fast because my friend and I were chit-chatting and we had a wonderful time. It was nice to have a nice environment around us. And other places to walk that I recommend are along the canal. So nice to be along the canal, or Dow's Lake, or even going to places like Britannia. There's free parking and you can go either direction down the path. I have to say, Ottawa is really good for all of the walking paths. There's so many options around here. And if you have recommendations, maybe you have a really good spot that you'd recommend to go for walks, let us know. Post it in the chat because there's some beautiful places that we don't always think about. And then other tips for you, you can play with your grandchildren if they're at that age where they'll play with you. A pet. I know myself, I've got a dog, so often I'm down on the floor and I'll do some stretches or I'll do the plank as I'm playing with my dog. So that's kind of a fun way to fit in a workout. Go up and down the stairs and keep track of how many times you do this. There's also lots of different exercises you can do safely on the stairs. So that's an option too. Or watch a YouTube exercise video and subscribe to the channel so that way you get a notification when new videos come out. As I mentioned, I've got a great channel. I've got close to 550 videos that you can choose from, so no shortage of options there. But I know there's lots of other people who do yoga. There's other stretching type sessions. If you want to learn how to dance, you can learn that on YouTube too. All right, so number 3, my next tip for you to build habits is to choose a time of day. That is your designated workout time. And I would do like this picture suggests, get out an old-fashioned calendar. Maybe you use that already. So just add it in. What time of day are you going to go and exercise? Book it into your calendar or your agenda. I also like to use my phone, so I will type things into my calendar and then I'll set a timer. So it'll go off half an hour before and it will remind me, okay, time to go for your run. So it reminds you, because sometimes, I'm sure you get this too, the days go by so fast and sometimes you're just focused on a project or you're sitting, you're relaxing, and then the day's done and you think, oh no, I didn't have time to fit in my workout. So these tips are all about building new habits. So think about something new that you want to build and use these. Set an alarm as a reminder. And this is so important, is to treat your workout time as important as a doctor's appointment. If you need to miss it, then reschedule. And we know it's hard to get doctor's appointments these days, and you're not going to skip one. So think about your workout time, your walking time in the same way, and think about how can I really maintain this commitment? How can I keep doing it? And if need be, then I'll change it to a different time. But it's really priority for me. Number 4 is to celebrate what you do. We don't celebrate enough. Often we just move on to the next thing. And then at the same time, don't get down on yourself for what you don't do. It's easy to beat ourselves up and say, oh, okay, I wanted to exercise 5 days this week. I only did 2. Well, you exercised twice. That's amazing. So don't be too mean to yourself. It's important to be kind. It's important to encourage ourselves and to focus on what we're doing right. And then I see this quite a bit. I see a lot of people who feel guilty when they don't exercise, and then they end up avoiding it completely. So what happens is they say, okay, I'm going to exercise tomorrow. I'm going to do it tomorrow. And then when the time comes, there may be an excuse. Oh, it's raining outside. I'm not going to go for the walk. And then they feel bad about it because as much as they want to do this activity, they're not maintaining that commitment. They're not committing and following through. So we want to avoid this. We want to let go of any guilt that may come up and instead make a plan so that it is possible to maintain what you say. And one way to do this is to focus on one activity every day. So just one thing, and then do it again the next day. Especially if you've got lots going on. I know there's probably a lot of you who are caregivers. Maybe you have extra things that are, weighing on you, or maybe this is a difficult time in your life. It is easy to feel overwhelmed and to think, I'm going to do it later. I'll restart my fitness routine in the fall. But just think of all the benefits that could give you if you start it now. So really think about simplicity, one thing that you can do every day, and do it again the next day. All right, so I want to share this. So I have a fitness membership called AIM Fitness Online. And this month, we are actually talking about how to build healthy habits. This is our theme. Every month, there's a different theme. So this is something that I've shared with my members, and it's called the Healthy Habits Challenge. And the whole reason I'm giving this is that often when we want to build a new healthy habit, we think, well, I want to make some changes to my health, but where do I start? Where do I start? So I have a list, as you can see, a list of all sorts of different ideas. And what I've given my members to, the challenge as what it is to go through the list and to do one thing per day off the list. So for example, do an exercise video that uses weights. Balance as you get dressed in the morning. Go for a 10-minute walk. Watch a nutrition video and take action on what you learn. Track how much water you drink. Aim for 6 glasses. Eat 2 servings of vegetables. Meditate for 5 minutes. So lots of ideas here. And what I've gotten them to do is to write down the date when they do that thing. So you can go through it. Now, a lot of people do like to do just one thing. So maybe it is going for a 10-minute walk. They want to focus on just doing that one thing to build that new habit. So I told them to write down that date every day if you do that one thing in the box. So I wanted to share this because I'll tell you a little bit later about how you can join as a member. And as a NAFR member, you end up saving 33% on the membership. So this will be a bonus for you if you do join as a member. All right, jumping to number 5, our 5th tip on building healthy habits this summer. Learn to enjoy the process and build fitness into your lifestyle for lasting results. So it's not just something that we're doing because, oh, our neighbor is exercising, I guess I should exercise too. No, we're doing this for lasting results. And I have to say, I work with a lot of people who are in their 60s and 70s. I also work with a lot of people who are in their 80s and 90s. And quite often when I start with someone brand new who really hasn't done much exercising, they're in their 80s, usually what they tell me is this: Meg, I wish I had started this earlier. I wish I had started when I was just a little bit younger. Now, the good news is it's never too late. It's never too late to get started, but it is easier to start today than waiting another 5 years, another 10 years. So think about how you can build an active lifestyle. Make it a lifestyle. It's not just a check the box, I did it and I'm done for the next week. We want this to be a lifestyle choice. And it's a fitness journey. And I love this picture because it really shows us the truth. Maybe your plan in your mind is a straight line. It's going to be simple. Okay, yeah, Meg, you've convinced me. But the reality is there's valleys, there's peaks, there's also good things that come up, there's bad things that happen. I have to say, I've worked with enough people long enough that I know that health changes can impact your motivation. I've had many people I work with who've had to have a hip or knee replacement, which was unexpected. All of a sudden, they have to adapt to that. I know others who've lost a spouse, and that has been really, really difficult. So life happens. We know this. Things do not go as expected. They rarely do. But if we have that routine set, we have our healthy habits that we've developed, you're going to be able to go back to those habits and you're going to have some peace in your life and something you can hold on to that you know you can control when other things are difficult to control. All right, so we're going to go over the 4 laws of behavior change. All right, so when we're wanting to build new habits, these 4 things can really help. These are also taken from Atomic Habits by James Clear. So again, write down that book. I do recommend it. It's a really, really fantastic one. So number 1 is to make it visible. If we want to build a new habit, if our resistance bands and if our weights are tucked away in the back closet, we're not going to be seeing them and it's not going to remind us to use them. So I'll tell you a personal story. So just this week, I joined a gym and I wasn't planning on joining a gym, but I did. And I'm very excited about it. And as soon as I got home, I printed off a calendar, a blank calendar, and I went through each day and I said, okay, what does my schedule look like? And what are the days that I'm going to go to the gym? So I wrote it just like this. Okay, 9 a.m. gym, 7:30 a.m. gym. There's a pool, so there's other days I'm going to go to the pool. And then I've put it right on my fridge. So my husband knows and I know the days that we're going to the gym. And I have to say, it's wonderful to plan it in advance because I don't have to make that decision. I've already decided this is when I'm doing it. So for those of you who are visual, use these tips. They're really going to help. Something else to do is habit stacking. And I talk about this quite often because I love it. I love this concept. It just makes so much sense to me. So if you already have a habit that you are doing regularly, habit stacking is adding a new habit right after that thing you always do. So for example, every morning you go into the kitchen, you brew your coffee. Your goal, your habit that you want to develop is to drink more water. So what you do is as you're brewing the coffee, you fill up your glass of water and you have a full glass. And that becomes a new habit. And over time, you won't have to think about it. It'll just go on autopilot. It'll be easier. But you can do other things too. So another example for my life is when my husband gets home from work, I get the dog, we go for a big long walk around the neighborhood, and on our way home, we get the mail. Now, we could just go and get the mail and then come back, but we've made it a habit to go for a 20-minute, 30-minute walk with the dog and get the mail on the way home. So in the beginning, I had to think about it and I would say, oh, do you want to grab the mail? Do you want to go for a walk? Now that's what we do. And it's our lifestyle. So think about these things. What are ways that you can add new habits to what you're already doing? If you've got some ideas, then feel free to put them in the chat. Number 2 is to make it attractive. Make your new habit attractive. So we have motivation ritual. So for example, if you start your day and you say, okay, this is my ritual, this is my routine in the morning. I wake up, I brush my teeth, I make my bed, I sit down on the floor and I do my stretches, and then I have breakfast. There you go. You've got the 5 steps to what you do. And that's your routine. You do that every morning. That's how you're going to stay motivated. And that's what your lifestyle will look like. Another idea, this is for those who like to watch TV or like to have a show, is temptation bundling. So as you're watching TV, you tell yourself, I can only watch my show when I'm on the treadmill or exercising, doing some type of movement. Maybe you're doing some seated stretches. Maybe you're standing and you're balancing, but you're only doing that. You're only watching TV as you do that habit that you want to work on. And then the third down below is to join a culture where the behavior is normal. So I'm a runner. I ran my first marathon this spring, and it was a lot of work to train for. But what I did is I surrounded myself with others who were also training. So I did a lot of my runs along the canal, and guess who those runners were who I was passing? They were also training for races. So there were many times that I'd pass someone and we're like, hey, good job. And you would wave and smile. And you could tell that this person is exhausted too, like me, but they're doing it. So you want to be in an environment where other people are doing what you want to do. So maybe it is joining a gym or joining a club. Maybe it's finding some new friends who are really into yoga, because that's something that you want to do too. And you can share that in common. So it really is joining a culture, joining a community of others who are doing things that you want to be doing too. And I have to say, my membership, I told this to the group yesterday when I was talking to them. I said, you guys are doing this. You are the culture. What we do is we exercise, we talk about making healthy decisions, we share recipes, we share ideas, and that's the norm. We have this healthy way of looking at the world, and it brings people together when you can share those common interests. Number 3 is to make it easy. I love making things simple. I really do. That's something I'm very good at, is distilling information, making it easier for people to digest and to learn. So how can we make life easier for us when we're wanting to build healthy habits? These are great ideas. Prep the environment. So if you are wanting to have more vegetables in your diet, think ahead of time, think and plan. Something that I like to do, and I know others like to do too, is when you come back from grocery shopping, prep your vegetables. So instead of just keeping everything down in the bottom of the fridge where it can easily go moldy, pull the vegetables out, wash them, and cut them up and put them in little baggies. If you get some fruit, maybe okay, fruit, berries especially don't last too long. So wash them, put them in little containers, and then put them in the freezer. So that way they're ready to go to add to your smoothies. So lots of options, but prep things ahead of time. And another one here, which I really think is interesting, in the book, they talk about the fact that you're more likely to go to the gym if it's en route to between home and work. So if you have to go out of your way to go to the gym or to go to a class, it's going to be a lot harder for you to do it. You're going to have excuses that come up. It's going to be harder to go out of your way. So place your habit along your path. Now, maybe if you're at home, you're not really going to a gym or to work, what you can do is you can have your resistance band on the back of your chair. And you can also keep your weights in the kitchen, because you spend a lot of time in the kitchen. So place that habit along your path. So that way, as you're walking through the house, oh yeah, okay, I can grab my weights. I can do a quick 5-10 minute workout. And then the next suggestion here is doing a 2-minute rule. The 2-minute rule is motivating to get you to start. So if you're someone who does struggle with just starting and just beginning, you can set a timer. You can set a timer right on your phone and tell yourself, okay, 2 minutes, I'm going to do my workout. And then when the timer goes off, most likely, I would say there's a good chance that you're going to want to continue. So if you do find that just starting, going for a walk or even prepping the vegetables just seems like a really big, intimidating idea, do the 2-minute rule, set the timer, just get started, and then you'll notice that, hey, I want to continue, and that can be really helpful. Number 4, make it satisfying. So we need to make sure that we reward ourselves, that we feel good about the decisions. So one way to do it is having a habit tracker. This is something I share with all of my AIM Fitness Online members. They have a few different ways to keep track of their habits. But it's amazing how checking off a box feels so good, feels so, so good. You can do other things like you can take a picture. I mentioned earlier having a picture of an airplane, or if you're going to Italy, have a picture on the wall. And that reminds you, okay, I've got to get into good shape for my trip. I want to improve my leg strength so I can walk and have that strength and energy. So really think about how can you make your goals really satisfying? What do you need to do? All right, so we're going to wrap up here shortly, and then I'll be leading you through a really quick full body stretch session. And if you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll get to them at the very end. But here are some ways that you can connect with us. So my team and I do offer in-home personal training. We also offer Zoom fitness classes that you can do right at home. I have the fitness membership. You can exercise with me on Rogers TV from Monday to Friday, 8:30. That's on channel 22. And then I also have a YouTube channel with lots of different exercise videos, short ones, 5 and then up to 20 minutes that you can do right at home. So I wanted to mention that there is a special savings on the membership. So as a NAFR member, you save 33% with the coupon code NAFR July 4. And if this is something you were looking for, you will love the flexibility. This is a complete fitness program that you can do right at home. So what I've provided is 200 exercise videos, all between 20 to 35 minutes, both for beginners and those who are advanced. And I put together a weekly exercise calendar, so you can easily click on the video of the day and follow along. And then along with the membership, not only do you get the videos, but we also do in-person meetups. So you can get together with us. We've got one planned in August where we're going to go to the Canal Ritz for lunch and then go for a walk along the canal after. So it's a really good way to connect with people who are like-minded, who really want to improve health and wellness. And like I mentioned, this month, the month of July, we are diving really a lot deeper into the theme of building healthy habits in the membership. And then I also offer a free 15-minute health consultation on the phone. So if you do have questions, if you want to talk about your particular situation, I'd love to chat with you. So you can visit my website, activitiesinmotion.ca, or just Google AIM Fitness Ottawa, and I'll pop up and you can book a call right through my website. All right, so let's get moving. We're going to stand up. I'm going to lead you through some different movements that you can do. Whether you have any equipment or not, we're not going to use any for today's session. And then we'll finish up our session today with some Q&A. So if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts on what we have discussed about building healthy habits, please leave them in the chat and I'll get to them later. All right, so I invite you to stand up. We're going to stand up, move away from the screens. All right, very good. So we're going to begin by stepping side to side. And as we do, I want you to circle those shoulders backwards. Focus on breathing, breathing in and breathing out. Now, I was talking about how just 10 minutes can really benefit us, but even 5 minutes of movement can really increase the blood flow to the brain. It can help us to think more clearly, it can get rid of aches and pains, tired muscles. So from here, let's take those legs nice and wide. We're going to be lifting the heels. So we're shifting our weight from side to side, focusing on our balance. And let's add one arm, reaching from one side to the other. Now, as we do this, think about tightening up that stomach. So pulling your stomach in, especially as we lean to the side. Tighten it in. This can help us prevent falls. Let's do another 3, and 2, and 1. Good. Now with those legs nice and wide, angle your toes out to the side. So your toes are pointing out to the corners of the room. Hands together, and we're going to do some nice, easy squats. The wider your legs are, the more comfortable this will be. And our knees should be going the same direction as those feet. So bending the knees and standing tall, taking your hips back, looking straight ahead. Breathing in and breathing out. Now we'll add to this one. You can either keep your hands right in front, or as you rise up, we're going to reach up towards the ceiling. Hands together, squat, and reach. Breathing in, breathing out. Now, if your knees bother you, or you can only go halfway, just do a mini squat. That's just fine. Another 3. And 2. And 1. Good. All right, now we're going to bring one leg. So one leg is in front of the other, and we're going to be doing a rock. So lifting your heel and then lifting the front toe. We're going to start by swinging those arms. Reaching, pressing back. So this is a really good one to warm up those legs, especially if you have things that you like to do, maybe any outdoor sports. Maybe you are a golfer, a gardener, you like going for walks and hikes. It's a really good way to bring a lot of movement to those legs and also flexibility for your ankles. Let's do 3 and 2 and 1. And then we'll hold it here. Bend those elbows, and we're going to do a twist from side to side. If you've osteoporosis, face the front of the room and just move those arms. Otherwise, you can twist at your waist. All right, very good. Let's do another 3, 2, and 1. Good. All right, we're going to turn to the other side. So changing legs, same thing with the heel lift and the toe lift. This time we're going to work on posture. So reach in front, bend the elbows and squeeze back. Breathing in, breathing out. Make sure there's enough space between those legs so you feel like you can really lift the toe and heel. All right, very good. Another time to do this one is first thing in the morning. Often we do feel a little bit tight in the shoulders and our back. So squeezing the arms back can really help loosen you up. Very good. Let's do another 3. And 2. And 1. Good. Now hold it here. So bending into both knees. And this time we're going to take your arms a little bit wider. Same thing. Let's do that twist. Side to side. Good. Steady breathing as we go. And this challenges the balance. If you're looking side to side, then you'll really feel that, that it's being challenged. Easier is if you look straight ahead. Let's do another 3. And 2. And 1. Very good. All right, let's finish up with one more right behind your chair. We're going to be doing some forward folds, and you can stand right behind that chair, about an arm's length away. We're going to bring those arms up, inhale, and then exhale, hinging from the hips. Reach for your chair and bend and lean forwards. So feel that in the legs. We're going to hold it right here. Feel it up the back of the legs, to the glutes, into your lower back, and then come on up again. Reaching up. And then bending forwards, hinging from the hips. Keep that back nice and straight. And hold it. 3, 2, 1. And then one more time, coming up. And then hinging from the hips, taking it forwards and hold. 1, 2, 3, and up. All right. So just notice how you're feeling. That was a quick a quick stretch session. And this is to show you that it doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be an hour, but move your body every day, just as we've talked about today. So let's finish up bringing those arms nice and wide and give yourself a hug. And we're going to get to the Q&A, so don't go anywhere. And if you've got any questions or comments, like I said, please leave them in the chat. And one more. And give yourself a pat on your back. All right, waiting.